The bell over the door jingled as another late-night customer wandered into Mel's diner. It was nearly midnight, and Emily was running on her third refill of burnt coffee and 4 hours of sleep. Her apron was stained, her sneakers worn down, and her curly hair tied up in a loose bun that had long stopped pretending to look neat. 19 years old, brilliant with machines, but stuck serving hash browns and pie slices. She once dreamed of building robots, maybe even working at Cybrex Systems, the robotics giant headquartered just a few miles from the diner. But then life happened. Her mom got sick, bills piled up. College tuition became a joke. Now she spent nights at the diner and mornings flipping through old engineering books on her phone while waiting for laundry to finish. That night, 6 well-dressed men entered and slid into a booth near the back. Their clothes screamed tech industry, and their conversation confirmed it. They spoke in hushed tones about servo failures, corrupted AI logs, and malfunctioning code. Emily didn't mean to eavesdrop, but their words were like magnets to her ears. She caught fragments of their problem. Something about a $10 million humanoid prototype that wouldn't respond to commands. The actuator loop is corrupted, one said. 40 engineers. Oh, no fix. The CEO's expecting a demo in 2 days. Another muttered, we're toast if we can't get it moving. As she approached to top off their coffee, Emily glanced at a tablet one of them had opened. The error logs on the screen were familiar. Not exact, but close enough to systems she had studied in her first semester at community college. She hesitated, then casually said, looks like the neural interface is trapped in a feedback loop. Line 82's probably repeating the same instruction before it finishes the previous one. The group went silent. One man looked up. I'm sorry, what did you say? Emily turned red. Oh, I just, overheard. I used to study robotics before I dropped out. They exchanged glances. The one with the tablet tilted it toward her. You know this system? Sort of, she said. It's similar to a Cybrex beta framework. You're using a recursive logic layer, right? The man sat up straighter. That's confidential architecture. Emily backed off. Sorry, I didn't mean to pry. But instead of being angry, he looked intrigued. You free after your shift? She blinked. I get off in an hour. We have the prototype van out back. Would you take a look at it? We'll pay you. After clocking out, Emily followed them to the parking lot where a sleek black van with Cybrex Systems logos waited. The inside was something out of a sci-fi film, gleaming surfaces, control panels, and at the center, a humanoid robot. It sat slumped, unresponsive, with diagnostic cables running from its chest to several monitors. The team explained they'd been trying to reboot the AI and mobility protocols for weeks. It just wouldn't respond. She nodded slowly, asked for permission, then stepped inside. They handed her a keyboard, and Emily got to work. Within minutes, she was navigating through lines of code, flagging redundancies, correcting logic conflicts, and identifying a subroutine that had been clashing with the neural net. She barely noticed the crowd forming behind her. I've isolated the loop, she said. Also found 2 interrupt flags that are cancelling each other out. I've patched them with temp commands. Try running it now. One engineer tapped a button. The robot's eyes flickered, then its head moved. Slowly, smoothly, it rose from the bench. It took a step forward. The team gasped. Someone dropped their coffee. It's walking, one whispered. It hasn't moved in a month. Emily smiled shyly, brushing her hands on her jeans. Just needed a second pair of eyes. The lead engineer stared at her, stunned. You do realize what you just did? That robot represents $10 million in R&D. 40 professionals couldn't fix it. You did, in under an hour. She shook her head. Guess working night shifts gives you time to think. They laughed, but not mockingly. One of them turned to the lead engineer. We have to tell the CEO. Emily froze. Wait, what? No, I didn't mean... But they were already talking excitedly. She has to come in. He needs to see this. This girl, this waitress, just saved the entire project. Emily felt dizzy. Just hours ago, she was cleaning syrup off tabletops. And now, she just fixed a multi-million-dollar robot for the biggest tech company in the country. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but tonight, something had shifted, something big. Emily could barely sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the robot's glowing eyes and the stunned faces of the engineers as it came to life. Her shift at the diner the next morning felt surreal. Every clang of a plate, every customer's order seemed to fade into the background of her thoughts. When a black SUV pulled up outside the diner around 10 a.m., she knew this wasn't coincidence. A woman in a sharp navy blazer walked in and approached her gently. "Emily Brooks," she asked. "The CEO of Cybrex would like to speak with you. If you're free, we'll take you to the headquarters." Emily's hands trembled as she removed her apron. Her manager, overhearing everything, gave her an encouraging nod. "Go," he whispered. "This is your moment." The ride to Cybrex was quiet, the SUV gliding through downtown as her heart raced. Inside the building, she was ushered through glass doors, past labs and engineers, to the top floor. When the elevator opened, she stepped into a room filled with suits, screens, and silence. At the head of the room stood Alexander Reeds, the founder and CEO of Cybrex Systems. He was taller than she expected, his silver-streaked hair neatly styled and eyes sharp with curiosity. "You're Emily?" he said, more statement than question. "I've watched the footage. That robot was offline for over a month. 40 of my best couldn't bring it back." "You did it in under an hour." Emily fidgeted. "I just saw something in the code. I've been studying robotics since I was 15. I had to drop out of college, but I kept reading. It's kind of all I have." He leaned forward slightly. "That robot was meant to be part of a live demonstration for a $120 million government contract. Without your fix, we would have lost everything. And yet you weren't even part of the team, you were serving coffee." She gave a shy shrug. "I didn't think anyone would take me seriously." Reed smiled faintly. "I take results seriously. I want to offer you a paid position here, engineering assistant to start. We'll cover your tuition if you want to finish your degree. If you're willing, I'll personally mentor you." Emily couldn't speak. Her throat tightened, and her eyes burned with tears she tried to hide. Are you sure I'm just a waitress?" "No," he said calmly. "You're a problem solver. That's who we hire." Word spread through the building quickly. As Emily toured the labs with her badge already being printed, young interns looked at her with admiration. Some whispered her name. "That's the one who fixed the Sentinel bot." Over the next few weeks, Emily moved from shadowing engineers to contributing ideas. She wasn't just part of the team. She was often the one they turned to when something stopped working. Her mind, sharp from years of self-taught learning and curiosity, saw solutions others missed. One afternoon, during a conference demo, a glitch threatened to freeze their new AI-controlled rescue drone. Engineers panicked. Without hesitation, Emily stepped forward, typed a few lines, and stabilized the system in seconds. The crowd erupted in applause. The demo proceeded flawlessly. After the presentation, a government official turned to Reeds and said, "You should put her in charge." Reeds laughed. "Give it a year. She'll probably be my boss by then." Back at the diner, Emily's old co-workers watched her success on a news segment. "Waitress turned engineer shocks the tech world," the headline read. Her manager beamed. "I always knew she wasn't going to stay here forever." Months passed, and Emily's life transformed. She moved into a small apartment closer to the office, started taking evening college classes again. Then led a side project at Cybrex, designing robotic exosuits for disabled children. Reeds would often stop by her lab just to hear her ideas. "You think differently," he'd tell her. "It's your biggest asset." One day, during a company-wide celebration for winning the federal contract, Reed stood on stage and raised a glass. "Today," he said, "we celebrate every engineer who brought us this far. But one person reminded us why innovation doesn't come from resumes. It comes from people who never give up." Emily Brooks didn't just fix a robot. She reminded us to keep looking where no one else is paying attention. The room applauded, and Emily stood there, hands shaking, trying to believe it was all real. She wasn't invisible anymore. She wasn't just the girl who cleaned booths. She was building machines, solving billion-dollar problems, and shaping the future. And it all started with a chance, a late shift, and the courage to speak up when no one expected her to. Her life didn't just change, she changed it.